Yeah.
And I've got to go and paint my mum's ceiling.
Nice. All right. Welcome back, everyone. It's episode 252, TVI, 2
Big up,
vegan
all
idiots. You've just been flexing, mate. So you're back at the gym.
Yeah, I'm pumping up, man.
It's cold at the minute, so like it's nice going to my gym's got a sauna and steam room, man. There's just something nice about it when it gets a bit chilly, just hitting up.
Oh, mate,
the steam room at my gym is on my life the hottest steam room I've ever been in. Like it's almost
in terms
to the
of
point
the
where
men in there.
Yeah, sort of sexy
in terms
boys.
of the D's hanging around.
Mate, it's the opposite. I swear to God,
massaging you with bay leaves.
My gym's Tooting Leisure Centre, right? So it's obviously just a former council leisure centre. Quite cheap memberships, like
is it
for
a better
OAPs.
One?
It is Places and Places Leisure. So Better and Places Leisure bought out a lot of the council gyms in it, right? So it's still a bit old fashioned, but like they obviously do really good OAP memberships and
old fashioned
sort of
missionary.
Yeah, man. But they've done the gym up and it's nice. But the sauna and the steam room and the pool are still quite old school. But the membership is like so old into the pool bit. So like the gym's upstairs. That's a normal, decent like quality of, gym goers. But when I go into the steam and sauna, man, it is just fucking chunky old Mediterranean men, just like 70-year-old, Greeks and like it's funny, man. They're all chatting away in that, but. Big boys.
I went into one on Old Street years ago.
I've only ever been in there once with a real sexy boy. Go on. Sorry.
Must have been the school holidays. Didn't know they had a crash in here.
He was there with his sugar daddy, man. No.
I went to one on Old Street when I worked. When I worked around there for a little while, we went at lunch and we went into the sauna, but it was loads of different rooms in this sauna, but it was just bare guys. And I thought, is this a gay sauna? Like it wasn't like anything sexual going on, but they were like hitting each other with the bay leaves and all that, proper old school.
Oh, yeah. That's like Russian bangers or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Russian gym, mate. That's what the Russians do. They all whack each other with sticks and stuff in saunas. I feel like
there's a few Russians that used to go to my sauna. That's all they do, innit?
Yeah, you know them Russians, man.
They're 69, innit, for their country. To keep warm.
But yeah. It was cold this morning. Did you go out? Were you out? Did you do a school run this morning?
No, I didn't do the school run. Ren's off today. She did a school trip in Shrewsbury for 4 nights. But she only managed 2 nights and I went and rescued her.
So, yeah, you mentioned this. So, but yeah, you actually had to do a proper drive up there. Where's Shrewsbury?
Shrewsbury's long things, man.
Which direction?
Miles.
I don't know where Shrewsbury is.
North.
I always get it mixed up with Salisbury. And that's south. Oh, no, that's south. Yeah, where's Shrewsbury?
You must have done Northwest. That Kevin Bland gig up there, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. I think I got banned from the Shrewsbury Comedy Festival.
Did you? What for? The racist bits?
All the sexual assaults. No.
Sam Free Israel. I don't know what that means, by the way.
Yeah, I know you don't. But no, it was for... Basically, I took the piss out of one of the sponsors of the festival at the gala.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember? Like, I went for dinner there before the gig, and it was one of the shittest vegan meals I've ever had. Really bad. And I was just slagging it off. I was saying, I went to this place, and I named the place on stage. I went like... So I was doing
and it's in a big banner behind you, the name.
Literally, like, the guy apparently was apoplectic, man. He just sort of tried to come down to the dressing room after and had a go at the promoters.
Stop throwing his vegan hands at you.
He was No, he weren't a vegan. It was just a big gastro pub that had one moody vegan option that was one of the worst dishes I've ever eaten. And I on stage was saying, this is what it's like being vegan, man. You go to a nice looking pub, nice menu, and they just give you a bowl of slop.
Nice
you're vegan.
Fit waitresses.
And basically he just took it very personally. But it's like, mate, you're the one who made me eat dog shit in your fucking moody restaurant. So anyway, long story short, never done the Shrewsbury Comedy Festival again, but I do know where you're talking about.
It's a lovely area like that. The grounds, I forget, it was Condon Manor, Concourt Manor. I'm saying it wrong, but it's something.
Condon Manor.
It's this. What's it? I forget what it's called, but it was like fucking Harry Potter, like an amazing big mansion, like looked like a museum, and they got loads of activities there, like I don't know, like Go Ape kind of things. Yeah, she did 2 nights, and she's been anxious for about a year, like really anxious, not even going into school. That's why I took her to Paris and stuff. That helped, but like, and I just drove up there and rescued her. But a new teacher's really chill, some geezer. He's like really nice. So he was cool, man. And she just slept the whole way back. Took me about 5.5 hours.
Oh man, it's long.
And she was like going, "Oh, this is so long," like complaining.
So I'm driving.
Kids are so funny.
I know, man. They just don't have any. Understandably, they have no concept of the fact that you're the one doing all the work
because of traffic. I'm like, I know it's long, innit? Shouldn't be such a pussy.
I've had it before with Twilight.
But it was nice. I kind of like rescuing her, though. I kind of like being the hero.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm rescuing my own inner child.
Yeah. But I've done that with Twilight, like, because we stopped. Obviously she's 4 now. Like, we stopped using the pushchair probably. I think the last time we really used the pushchair, we brought it to Edinburgh because we're like, all the hills and shit.
You tend to walk now, do you? Yeah.
Yeah. But so sometimes she just wants me to carry her, like, when she's still a 4-year-old, man. It's not like out of the question. So
do you do the shoulder carry?
Yeah, she goes on my shoulders a lot. But there's times when, like, we'll go out somewhere for the day and she spends a lot of it on my shoulders and she's running around a bit and that. She'll be on my shoulders for like ages walking around. And then she'll be like, "Oh, it's so tiring walking around everywhere." It's like, you fucking what? You're on my shoulders, mate. I'm the one carrying you around everywhere.
I remember Ren on my shoulders once and I trod on like a plug. It weren't a plug, but it was something that really hurt my foot.
Yeah.
And she just like, "Daddy, this way." And I'm like, it's just not on their radar that I'm in severe pain.
Yeah, it happened. We were playing a game recently. I may say recently, it's probably about 4 months ago now. But she fully kicked me in my eyeball. Like we were playing around on the bed and jumping around and stuff. And just somehow, however, I was on the bed and she jumped, like the heel of her foot fully just right in my eyeball, man. And like, I was in agony, and I'm like, "Oh, what?" I was trying not to swear and shout, and then she sort of started getting like annoyed with me that I wasn't playing the game, and I was like, "Look, I need literally 5 minutes because you just kicked me fully in my eyeball."
Go to the eye hospital.
Yeah, I feel like I might have
Moorfields,
like permanently damaged my eye sight. But she, they just don't give a shit, man. Why would they?
I remember when my dad died, and like. It was quite early on. It was only a couple of days after, and I was sitting on the chair. My head was in my hands. Like I didn't plan to cry. I just sat in, and I got an email or something. And Verity must have been about.
To be honest, you don't put it in a diary. I might have a cry at 3
But I wasn't.
Today.
I was trying not to be inappropriate in front of the kids. But something they were playing anyway, and I got an email from his sister, and it just made me sad. And their mum was like, "Oh, come over here, Dad." And Verity, she's been diagnosed actually now with autism, but I shouldn't say that really. But and she come over and, I want to see. And she ran over and pulled my hands away from my face. And she went, "Ah!"
Oh my gosh. I love it,
just
man.
really laughed at me. But I tell you what, though, it made me feel... It really grounded me. It was really nice at the time.
I agree. I think sometimes it does help. Like, when Twilight was only 2 when my dad was dying, and and my mum's obviously got dementia. She's now sort of pretty, it's not easy being around my mum, even though, it's sort of, I'm constantly visiting, going into the home and seeing her, but Twilight makes it much more manageable when she's there because she just don't give a shit about the the illness or the death. None of the them things. They're such big, like they're still in such big ideas and they're not fully in her head. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
she actually talks about it all really freely and just like, and it sometimes makes me remember. It reminds me to like slightly step back a bit and be like, yeah, it's just what happens, isn't it? It's not, it's not as big a thing as because you make out in your own head.
They're very healing kids, aren't they?
I agree. But yeah, man, so this morning I rode Twyla to school this morning on the bike. I've ridden her every day. She's been at school on the bike, and it was 3 degrees this morning when we set off, and that was a nippy bike ride, man. Yeah, so proper like I definitely.
Where'd you keep the bike in your house?
No, just chained up out front.
Because my bike got chawed a couple of years ago, man. I was gutted.
Reminds it, it's pretty. Yeah, I've got a couple of D-locks on it and another thing, but like somebody nicked on my back wheel with all the bloody gear stuff on it and everything. Like when I was away in Australia 2 years ago, it cost me a fortune to get it replaced. But since then, I've just made sure to definitely D-lock on the back wheel, D-lock frame to the thing, D-lock on the front wheel as well because that pops off. So like, yeah, it's just. I mean, it'd be such a nightmare to steal now from a front garden that I think it's sort of safe.
That's why I wouldn't get one of them amazing bikes. I mean,
no, mate, absolutely,
because they're just
madness
hot
in
property,
London,
man.
Yeah, like I think like my bike it's not shit. It's good. It's like a big rally hybrid, and just basically a big mountain bike. But like, no one's going to nick it, man. It looks too much like a dad bike now as well. It's got a fucking kid seat on the front. It's got a pannier rack on the back. It looks like you're about to go riding across northern Spain on a camping holiday or something. So I don't really think it's up for I can't imagine anyone walking past it and thinking, oh, that looks nice. But like it cost me nothing, man. It cost me 120 quid, and even like getting it cost me more to get my back wheel replaced than it cost me to get the bike because I got it second hand. So I think that's the trick to
I might get a little second hand one.
You should get one because, and also, get one cheap enough that if it gets nicked in 6 months or a year, it doesn't stress you out and you can just get a new one.
Just make a little habit of riding my bike.
It's weird, mate. I feel so much fitter from riding. I've basically done 5 weeks or something now, riding it every single day, and my cardio feels really good. Do you know what I mean? I'm basically riding my bike. Like normally I'll go somewhere after as well, so I'll drop her off and then I might go to the gym or whatever or shops and so I'm riding my bike at least an hour a day currently, and it's just that's
a good amount, man. Consistency.
Yeah, I feel fit. I feel fit, like which I haven't.
Since
I've
got my new car about a year ago, my steps are like I just drive everywhere, man.
Yeah.
I'll drive to the West End to do gigs.
That's insane.
I could just get a train.
I was chatting to Kay Kurd the other day. Kay lives near me in South London, and like he'd driven to do the 99 Club in Leicester Square, and I was like, mate, you could not. There's not enough money in the world you could pay me to drive into like Leicester Square.
I mean, it is convenient though. Like it's about like 28 minutes home once I get in my car. You know what I mean? And you can get parking.
It's that long for me on the tube. Like, you know what I mean? It'd be longer for me to drive into town and get a tube. Like
I know, and I don't mind getting a train either. Like, but
how much is parking?
Well, top secret. I've got parking, man.
Right.
So I park in their car park. I was a bit cheeky the other day. I did 4 gigs there, used their car park, and then went off and did 2 gigs at another venue.
That's allowed.
Yeah, and then went back and got my car.
But if you ain't at the top, imagine you drove in just to do another gig in town, central, right?
Well,
in the central.
after 6:30, you can park on yellow lines.
Yeah,
so it's actually it's better than you think, man.
But how
Brighton is worse than London.
Parking? Yeah.
Brighton is like 9 p.m.
Yeah, it's fucked. But I just can't face that thought of driving through town, man. There's too many cars. It's too busy.
Yeah, it is a bit, but it's not. Everyone thinks that though, so it's a bit better than you realise sometimes.
Yeah. No, I like my sitting down and watching something or reading something. That's my my journey home. I like that.
Checking out the gal on the tube.
Exactly. risen up some gay geezers.
Dancing for them.
So yeah, we've got loads of questions there. I reckon we should start them early.
Yeah, this is from our patreon.com/wearetvi questions.
If you want full length
Our
episodes, full length videos, extra bits, if you want to join the WhatsApp
merch
groups,
discounts coming soon.
Yes,
Bear merch,
the merch
man.
if you're
We've got a lot of
watching this,
merch in it.
Yeah, man.
Phone covers,
Yeah.
water bottles.
Yeah, we're just finalising the costs for when they're on, and then we're going to just start sending out the.
They ain't cheap, innit?
Do you know what? Merch isn't
We're
cheap
rivaling
to
Armani.
Balenciaga,
We're trying to put ourselves in the
moody
Gucci
fucking t-shirt, and it's £700. I see. Do you know what? The amount of people I see wearing Balenciaga annoys me. Like Balenciaga, like, the stuff is, it looks bad. I think, right? And I think it's so overpriced. So whenever I see somebody wearing it, I judge them more harshly than than I would judge somebody wearing something like.
I do with stuff like Balenciaga. Jumper, yeah, it's like £600 for a shoe.
Yeah, like in terms of men's clothes, Next, Burton's, that
Next
sort
is,
of.
Yeah,
it's just the vibe. That's the vibe I don't like. It's a very sort of, in my head, I think that's actually to me one step worse than just buying all blokes that just wear all hiking gear just all year round. They've got their Merrell trainers on and their all weather trousers. Come on, man.
It's a middle class dad. Organised outfit.
Yeah, I think Next is one up from that. I think it's worse. I don't know why. It's because they're trying to be trendy, but it ain't, man. It's
because I think Primark is all right. Or River. I don't really do River Island and that.
Do you know River Island? I don't really wear River Island, but in terms of the design, I think I like it more than a Next and that. Primark.
That's what I think about Primark, though. At least Primark tries. You know what I mean?
But the problem with Primark is it's too derivative. All the t-shirt, everything looks like it's so, that you can see where they've copied it off. At least I think River Island. I wouldn't get something
with a picture on the front but I don't know. Just their plain stuff. The fit is always. At least they've, I don't know. The fit is always all right though for £3. You know what I mean?
Long. The times I've bought emergency Primark stuff, it's lasted a few wears and I've hated it and it's gone out of shape. Whereas I'm a believer in buying more expensive, better made things. Even if you buy vintage.
A couple of Lululemon things the other day, which is normally a woman's gym brand.
No, but they do proper clothes as well. I've seen their stuff. Some of it's quite nice.
I've got a pair of trousers. They're a little bit they're really thin, but I really like them, man. And a pair of tracksuit bottoms. They're not the best. They're all right, but it's expensive, man. That's the only thing.
Yeah. But I know it's. I get there is there's reasonings.
I've got a few things on Vinted actually. I've got some All Saints jeans off of Vinted, man, and they're obviously second hand, but they were so cheap. And I'm I'm just going to do Vinted every shot.
Yeah, man. Especially with something like an All Saints jean, they're well enough made. They'll last for age. If somebody's bought them, they don't fit right, and they sell them, you're getting basically a new pair of jeans, and they'll last you for fucking ages.
I've had things with tags on from there, and it's
But All Saints jeans as well. I used to wear All Saints jeans, and then they changed the cuts of the jeans. I used to wear the ones that were called a cigarette cut. So it's quite a thin, but not too thin. It's sort of and I used to love them, but they've changed the sort of shape and the cut of it, and I just had to stop buying them because I didn't like them anymore. It's a shame because they're all my favourite.
Some things when you go in All Saints as well, it's a bit much. I don't know, just those t-shirts that are just the neck goes low below
get your belly button out on the street.
Yeah. It's a Russell Brand open shirt.
I know, it's gross, mate.
I'm all right.
I don't mind. I like an All Saints sort of jean, jacket, jumper. The class, I think they're decent stuff.
I paid out for a nice winter coat from All Saints a couple of years ago, but it would last me every winter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it ain't cheap though.
No, but it ain't because it's actually a bit better quality. Let's do this. Let's do some questions from the WhatsApp groups. If you want to join the WhatsApp groups, go on patreon.com/we are TVI. There's so many spin-offs now. Apparently there's a new one, some electronica one. Have you heard about this?
Nah.
Every time, every week there's a new bloody one. Here we go. It's called yes. Can you give a shout out to the TVI Electronica Splinter? What the bloody hell's going on? It's freaking crazy. It's got a world of its own.
Electronica as in the music.
I presume it is, yeah. So yeah, if you're into electronica music and you're listening, join up to Patreon and then join the WhatsApp groups. Then join the Splinters. It's a lot of you've got to pass through a few doors, but once you're there, you'll be very happy.
But you'll end up in heaven.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. From Martin. Do you have a secret ritual or thing that you do every day? For example, when I take my undies off before bed, I catch them on my foot and kick them up in the air and catch them on my head. It really pisses my wife off, even after 15 years. Rituals. I mean, I'm quite ritualistic. I'm definitely quite sort of like, I like a routine, my morning.
I think we are as
making,
humans.
all this stuff. Yeah. And I think the people that don't have any routine often are people that are more stressed and like probably talk about I think some people think they like the chaos, but then they don't realize it's actually negatively affecting them. If you just put a few little daily markers in, it really helps your mental health. I think I'm convinced of that, because I say that as somebody who used to have no routine,
rituals,
and I used to be a nutcase, and like now, over the years, as I've sort of feel like I've got my mental state in order, and I mean I'm actually in good nick now mentally. I feel like a lot of that comes from knowing your daily routine. And guys, especially as being people that don't have a proper job, and we're creative, self-employed types, like not having a routine, you're fucked, mate. Talking to people like, I got up at midday yesterday, and you're like, mate, that's why you're such a nutter.
I struggled with that in the first couple of years doing stand-up full-time. Like,
mate,
a part of me missed the commute to work and just the structure of the day.
Absolutely, mate. I went mad. Yeah, it's why people end up pissheads and drug addicts and stuff in the sort of what they say call the arts. It's because suddenly you go from, we went from normal jobs to suddenly just you can get up when you want, and sit at home all day.
That's why I quite like the school run. Like that gets me up and I'm involved in her routine, and then you know what I mean. I go to the gym or got a bit of structure. You know what I mean.
Definitely. I'm loving doing the school run. It's like really sort of like we've got half term coming up and I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss getting up at the same time every day, getting ready.
It is nice to have a little break though, and then have lie-ins and that.
I don't want to. Yeah, but I think there's something wicked. Because I'm riding a bike as well. There's something lovely about that. Right, dropping off and then going for this lovely ride back through like past Dean City Farm and all these woods and shit. Like, it feels amazing. I feel like I've sort of got up and done something in the morning, and I'm worried.
Yeah, definitely, man.
A week off, whatever. That I'm going to be like, oh, okay. But
you can still do it.
Any rituals you have to do every day? I mean, my sort of. Let me think. I definitely have my coffee making as a ritual, like my filter coffee.
I wank off
as a ritual. What, like candles?
I think I do. I think.
Why would you strike me as someone who wanking is actually a sort of a hobby more than just a thing you do? You know what I mean?
It definitely is a time killer. I don't know, man.
But you know what I mean? Some people I think of as just knocking one out to them. It's like it's just a real bit of like admin. I'm just like, I'm not one out just to get it out of the way. Whereas I feel like you are somebody who it is actually a part of your day.
It is actually.
It sounded more insulting.
I need to grow up, man. Like, it's fucking stupid. I like it when I'm out and I'm like, I'm gonna go and have a wank.
I mean, see, that is the difference.
And it's really ritualistic. Like, you draw the curtains. You know what I mean? It's like weird. I'm an adult man.
Yeah, I mean that is. It's
I should
funny.
be at war. I should be.
Like, 'cause I can say that with 100% certainty. I've never been out and thought I can't wait to get home and wank.
Is it not?
Which shows that's the difference of like, how we treat it. Mine is very much
Being a ledge.
sort
I'm a legend on the wanking circuit.
No, but I think mine is also. I still think it's a bit grotty doing it. So I never do it with a sense of pride or like a sense of like achievement. Oh, that's what I'm going to do. Mine's always sort of begrudgingly. Oh, I probably should.
Probably should keep the pipes clean.
Yeah, that is genuinely it. Like mine is much more a physical. It's almost like sort of blowing up your tires on your bike or checking your car tire pressure or putting some oil in.
Yeah.
Like mine is totally functional.
Just jerking off.
Yeah, there's no joy in it whatsoever. It's like washing the dishes. It's horrible, isn't it? But I genuinely think that. I don't know why I think like that about it. I just feel like it's a function, not a pleasure.
I don't know. I've always been like that though, since as far back. Honestly, like 3 years old.
Yeah.
4, 5. I was just I've always been like that.
Right.
It's a pedo's dream.
It's a 3-year-old who loves knocking one out. That's gross.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing at 3. I'm an expert now.
Yeah.
Oh mate, I need to fucking stop oversharing. I'm not proud of this.
I mean, you are a bit though. What other rituals? I've got rituals for when I get ready to go out. So like, I'll get up my morning day part is like
Put
the
the
dropping
knife
Swiler
in your
off.
bag.
But might go to the gym, or if I come home, I'll have make another coffee, and then it's like my lunch is always quite regimented around the same time. Like days when Swiler's at school, midday, I'm making lunch and having it at exactly the same time almost every day. Then it's pick her up at 2. Like there's sort of that all falls into its sort of pattern. But I would say my getting ready, for gigs, shower, and then I've got like sort of I've got my clothes ready for it, get dressed, and then I've got like watch. Like I've got a signet ring I always wear for gigs. So I've got I put my hanky in the left pocket. I've got loads of little probably borderline OCD behaviours that are rituals.
Why do you wear the signet ring? Have you always done that? Is that?
It's just something Hannah bought it for
Does
me
it mean
a few years
anything?
ago as a Christmas present, and so it's like I just really love it. Like, so I remember like I've always been jealous of posh people who have family signet rings. You know what I mean? From their family crest.
Yeah.
And I think I remember like chatting to Hannah when we were chatting to a friend who has one that is literally his family crest on his fucking finger, and I was like, oh man, we don't get that, poor people. So Hannah got me a signet ring that's got this sort of ancient, not ancient, it's like an Egyptian symbol from some hippie stuff, and I love
gay
it.
and Egyptian.
It means poor guy trying to pretend he's rich. It
means
and I just love it, and
gold.
it's a real thing. And if I forget to put it on before going to a gig, and I realise when I'm en route, I feel all like wonky. Like, oh god, I haven't got my ring on. So it's like that's definitely.
I've
a
tried
ritual.
with jewellery. I've got a couple of nice necklaces.
Yeah.
Like silver chains, and I just can't. I don't know why. I can't really wear anything like that. I've tried.
Right.
My son Bo wears chains and stuff, and I think it looks good. But like yesterday, we were at the gym, and he had to take it off because we were doing squats, and then he walked off. So I picked his chain up to take it to him, but I put it on just to walk it over, and like it felt good on it. I saw it in the mirror. It looks all right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I
think
can't.
a nice
like,
simple little chain is a lovely thing. But I love I always wear a watch. I've always got my wedding ring on, and like and then I've put the signet. So I keep it simple. I'm not putting loads of shit on. I've also obviously I wear earrings as well, but these ones just stay in now almost exclusively. These little black hoops. So I suppose I've got a little bit of paraphernalia.
Would you ever do the big hole in your earring? One of them big holes.
I don't think I would, because I don't know. Do they ever go back to normal once you take it out?
I don't think so, not properly.
Yeah,
I've still got a hole in my ear
earlobes.
from an earring when I was like 14.
I reckon it'd be closed inside though. You'd have to force the thing through.
Yeah,
It would
definitely.
hurt,
It's
but
definitely
you'd get it
healed a bit.
through. Because I've left.
But it's still
Like, do you know how much it heals? Like these ones have got really like they're just proper little hoops, right? I've got ones that have got a thicker bar that go through, so it is a little like I remember like it's ones for the people that if they want to start growing their ear holes, you start with a bar and then you build it up, right? So I've got ones that have got a thicker thing to go through, and if I haven't worn them in a while, when I take these out and put them in, it's quite a sore getting it through because it has to stretch the hole a bit. So yeah, but so it shows how much it goes down in a month or two. Would you ever wear an earring again?
I don't know. If I start doing stuff like that now, it's definitely like midlife crisis vibe in it. If I just suddenly like,
I suppose
I've never done it, and then suddenly I've got loads of bling.
Yeah, you've got to have it on when you get to middle age, so people like go, "Oh no, he's always had that." You can't.
Yeah, that's him.
Wearing
man.
chains and earrings now. I fucking love it, man.
A tiara.
Let's do another question. This one's actually sincere. Today's world is a dark, dark place with pain, death, destruction, and suffering everywhere you look. As an extension to your comic services, can you offer your listeners some words of comfort and hope so they can
it's always
raise
been like
their
that.
heads to see the sunshine? Please be as sincere as possible. Yeah, I mean, I was going to echo those sentiments.
Look at the medieval times or like the torture times, and like that was way worse. We're in the best times we've ever been in.
Yeah, and I think, do you know,
in a lot of ways.
But we also know more, don't we? Like, so that's the thing that sometimes people say, like when they, in a defense of, you know, how hard it is nowadays, is it's that thing where technically things have never been better, but people have never known more about how bad
We've
things
got
are.
a bigger view of things now. It's like when you're climbing up a ladder, like you've got a bigger view of good and bad.
Yeah. You know, like during the 1300s, you know, during the 100-Year War or whatever, when it was chaos between, like, but there was, if you were just like some bloke ploughing a field in, you know, in Shrewsbury.
I mean, imagine like 2,000 years ago.
You have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, your daily life, you know, might not have been luxury. It would have been hard eating a bit of bread for dinner every day. But actually, in terms of your awareness of how good your life could be or how shit it could be, you just thought, oh, this is just all right, isn't it? So I do see, I understand what people are saying.
I think like art back then was better because people were more, you know, like look at what Da Vinci did and stuff. He probably wouldn't do that, or Mozart wouldn't do that nowadays. He'd be on like TikTok or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do freestyle raps or like, you know, Da Vinci would be distracted by the internet. I do think there's something in. There's something in that.
I agree that in terms of it was like once people became artists back then. Obviously, there's a reason that's like sort of. You know, they all had benefactors and that, so it was quite nowadays it's harder to be an artist, isn't it? Because you can't just get a local lord to give you 30 crowns a month to do your art. Do you know what I mean? Like all of Michelangelo, all of them had benefactors, so that their whole
now
job
the modern equivalent is like signed by a record label that fleeces you, or But also, look at in Jesus' times, like they literally used to hang people by crosses with nails in their hands. And you could probably walk over to that place, a little tourist attraction, people just screaming on crosses.
Yeah, we wouldn't do
that now.
How many a couple hundred years, 300 years ago? I don't know when they stopped doing the hanging people and chopping people's heads off out in the bloody.
They did it in Marble Arch on Oxford Street.
Yeah, it's insane. So
times have never been better.
Yeah, times have. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, in terms of your day-to-day life, it is, you know, and that's not taken away from there are parts of the world currently where that is not the case, and it is.
There's more slavery now actually than there's ever. There's more slaves now than there's ever been, but there's more people, isn't there?
And also, I know it sounds horrible, but there's probably the slavery is slightly different. I'm not defending modern slavery, but you know,
I don't know, man. In some countries,
but like,
I don't know,
you know, because what I mean is the description of slavery now includes a lot more. Do you know what I mean?
Like, okay, yeah.
So I mean, I think, and I agree that should be the case. But I'd say, like, there is going to be big chunks of what is modern slavery that probably 300 years ago wasn't classed as slavery. It was classed as just a job. But nowadays,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we've realised that working customs and working places should be safer, and
I mean, there's fucking awful things going on in the world, obviously, but we can, we're more aware of it, I guess, now, aren't we? It was off our radar completely, even like 20 years ago.
And there is something to be said
news.
for this, like, for, if you live in the UK where we are, let's use that as the basis.
We are lucky, man.
Yeah, and you do have, like, people often say, like, because I often have discussed the fact that I don't really follow the news often. I go through big chunks where I have no idea what's going on in the world. I don't look at anything. I'm
I can
totally
miss some
unaware.
big things as well.
And there is, some people might say, well, that's a privileged way of, it's privileged, and it's like, and I'm always thinking, yeah, I know, that's why I'm like, if you've got privilege,
use it.
There's nothing wrong with using it, mate. Do you know what I mean? Sort of, you've got it. It's not your fault you got it. It's luck where you're born, man. And, like, sort of, if you live in a place where you are slightly sheltered from stuff and you can zone out.
Look at there's hurricanes at the moment. Is it in Florida, maybe?
Yeah.
Imagine being like, I was thinking, we're so lucky in England. We've not got killer spiders. We've not got fucking tidal waves, hurricanes.
Yep. The worst we have is
a lot of the hurricane footage was AI, apparently, though, that I was watching on TikTok. It just looked insane. And I'm like, and then people posting below it, I'm there, this isn't it. But it's still bad. I mean, it's fucking like fucking tornadoes.
There has been deaths already.
And, man.
Massive destruction. But I think in the UK we've got loads of issues, but in terms of, like, we're pretty sure we're not going to.
We moan about the rain, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we moan about the tiniest things. It's a bit fucking chilly. I hate English weather.
Yeah, we don't. Our
Imagine
heat
your
waves
village,
are normally
lava just coming towards your village. You know what I mean?
That's it. I've been in Australia when there's been the bushfires.
Putting your kids on your shoulder and just running.
Yeah. So I do think, I know
we
it's a horrible
chose
way
a
to
nice
say
piece of land, didn't we?
Yeah, and so I'm always quite sort of
be grateful,
aware
people.
of that. Yeah, there is, and it is that thing. It's not just a privilege to be able to zone out. It's also being grateful that you live in a part of the world where it's like that.
Yeah,
and obviously
definitely.
there are people that live here that have family and friends in places where it's not like that. So it's more on their brain daily. But it's sort of, I think it is only, the world's always
in
been
Australia.
fucked.
They've got like bushfires and shit, haven't they?
That's what I was saying. I've been there when, like, it's like that. And it's mad, like proper crazy weather, man. So
it happened just after you flicked your cigarette.
It is mad when you see it, though. I've seen them doing burn-offs they sometimes do these burn-offs where they actually burn a line in the sort of across the bush to stop. So if there are bushfires, they get to a point where
literally playing with fire.
They have to, yeah. It's been doing it since, like, the indigenous people were doing it for thousands and thousands of years.
Why do they do that? To keep the crops under control?
No, so you burn a line. So if there was bushfires in the bits that are prone to it, the fire will rage to a point and then it can't cross because you've already burnt a line. So it's just a barren line. Yeah. So the bit where you are is safe, and they still do them to this day. And I was staying in that was when I told you about that cabin in the woods I stayed in for 4 days on my own. They were doing burn-offs. So at night time, I could look out the back and just see this line of fire that was it was like something from a film, man. I was like, I was in hell. It was amazing.
I'd be anxious, man.
I know. Anyway, so yeah, offer words of comfort. It'll be all right. Everything's just fucked forever, but there are pockets where it's absolutely fine. And you just got to remind yourself of those pockets. Let's do another question. Without using my name, so let's not name them. What do you do when you find out your married friend is having an affair? Yes, this person's anonymous, so maybe I've missed something in the group, and maybe somebody's found out a friend of theirs is having an affair. it's a weird thing when when you either find maybe not even a friend, but I've definitely, and again, this is in comedy, I've definitely been sort of semi-witness to people like looking like things are about to happen with them, and like they're definitely married and have children and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've seen it enough times, and I'm not, I'd be lying if I said that in my old life before my now happy marriage with a child, like the old days, like towards the end of my last marriage, I was fucking that guy probably at times and putting
Yeah,
people in
just banging every
uncomfortable situations.
waitress
But
and
no,
waiter.
that was it was a perfect storm at the time, and I'm not proud of it. But like I'd say I've definitely been witness to it. Like, and it's a hard one, man, because like you do just have to realize it ain't your place. You ain't this ain't on me, man. This person's doing what they're doing, and I don't agree with it. But also, who am I to judge?
You can't stop somebody, can you? But you can
If it was a
also
good mate, like if it was genuinely a good mate, I would definitely try and stop them. I would try and
have a
intervene and
word.
get in their
Yeah.
head. Yeah, 100%, man. Like, but I'm
Sometimes a
talking about
little
if
bit
it's
of
an
advice
acquaintance.
can go a long way. Like if they're on the tipping point and they're deciding, and they hear, you know what I mean, the voice of reason, it might help a bit, eh?
Yeah. I yeah. Like I've definitely. Well, I've been witness to a comedian friend and another comedian friend who's married with children who sort of they almost had a little fling. And actually the friend of mine who's not the married one sort of just had this like, what am I doing? And then had a word with the other one and said like, we can't be doing this. You know what I mean? Like, you're literally a married person with children, like, and they just sort of it never actually got off the ground because they both had that realization of like, oh yeah, what the fuck are we doing? So it can happen where it doesn't just people don't fucking nuke their lives because of wanting to bang each other. But like, I do think it's a horrible thing. Like, if you know somebody though that is like just up to it and like, because they are putting you in a situation where if you meet them and their partner and they're banging around, it is a
I
weird
know you're a
feeling in your
part
head.
of the lie.
Yeah, like I don't think that's on really, man.
I mean, when you're a teenager or like, you know what I mean, it seems like you've got less morals, haven't you, about judging and like,
Yeah,
as you get older, I suppose.
yeah. It's hard. It's not a judgment. It's just I don't want to be part of their little web of deceit, man. So, but what do you do? I suppose the question is, what do you do? And I mean, there's nothing you can do. Have a word with your friend. Tell him
Egg 'em on.
tell him, look, I ain't going to be part of this. So let's not hang out for a while you're up to this. I don't want to be part of it. So I'm just
Here's
going to
some
step back.
condoms and some nipple clamps. Have fun, son.
But that would be a thing that would make them realise they're definitely doing something probably untoward. If you said, I don't want to be part of it to the point I don't really want to hang out until you got your shit together. That'd be a little moment of give them a pause for thought.
Yeah, it's a hard one though, isn't
it? Go and absolutely
take some flowers around to their wife. Knock on the door. Hi. Is Jerry home?
Here's a question. I mistakenly turned up to a video games expo 3 weeks too early last Sunday. What's the most early or late you've ever been? You've shown up to something by mistake? I mean, I've definitely shown up. I've shown up to a gig a week early once.
Is it?
Yeah,
Did you
just
wait
once.
in the green room?
Smash an empty pub. I also showed up to a funeral a day late.
My dad was coming over from Australia. I hadn't seen him in about a year. And I was supposed to meet him at Heathrow. And I was on a mad one the night before. Like we were, drinking Coke. You know, when it's like the birds are singing and you're still doing lines.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep and I woke up and I was so gutted. I kicked a chair in my flat and it went into my fish tank.
Oh, man.
And the fish tank just went whoosh, all over the floor. The fish was saved, actually, because there was a little bit of water still there. But I sat down on my bed and I just cried. and, and I was determined to get to Heathrow, but by that time I was like an hour late already. I fell asleep on the train, missed stops on the tube.
Oh, God.
I ended up at some station. I don't even know where I was. I was literally about 4 hours late and I still went to and then I went to the wrong terminal. And then in the end, and I was trying to ring him, he wasn't answering. And then that evening I rang him and he answered and he was just absolutely fine. He was like, yeah, I just went to Earl's Court and got a hotel. It was fine. But I was like it was horrible, man. Because I only had myself to blame. Like there was it was just all me.
Fucking hell.
And that when I remember I got sober, and then I did it about a year or two later, and I was like perfectly on time, and I was there, and I was responsible, and I was like, "This is all right, man, being sober." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was mess, man, trying to get to Heathrow.
I had that sort of like this year, like not in as extreme terms, but like this year, like leaving Edinburgh, like the last night of Edinburgh, you know, I literally went home and then then we finished cleaning and packing, and the next morning we got up early and got a train home. And like I remember just being on that train really fresh with like Hannah and Twyla and being like, I used to like literally crawl out of Edinburgh, man. I'd be missing trains, flights,
and
that
ambulance
last night of Edinburgh,
back to London.
Yeah, that last night of Edinburgh, man, where like you used to end up in like on Arthur's seat on fucking MDMA, like just in this weird sense of like you always felt like the end of Edinburgh was a big deal. And this year I was like, it's not. It's just my last gig. Now I get to go home. And there was a real like. I had this real sense of like pride on the train of like, oh right, I'm an actual grown up now. I'm fucking not a div.
It does feel better, man.
Let's quickly do. Let's try and get through more. This is from Joe. Has there ever been a time you've watched a comic go out on stage, but because of how they've acted in the green room, you've had a voice in your head wanting them to have an absolute stinker? I mean, that happens about 3 times a week, mate. All the time, man. Oh, fuck. Do you want to hear? I won't name the person, man, even though we're on Patreon because I feel bad. But this is just reminding me of an act I was with this week who, like, it's not I don't actually really like them, but I did a gig on Wednesday night with an act who was hosting, who absolutely nosedived the gig before bringing me on, like properly killed. Like she was hosting, and she's normally like she's funny, normally a good host, you know.
Have a look at Cole's recent gig lineups, and we can figure out who it is.
And
have a Google, guys.
The first act told me like the gig was a little bit sniffy, you know. They were quite it was quite a posh younger audience, like it was quite a trendy place, and then the interval, and then the act went on before me, the host, and just started chatting to some people. Chatted to a couple of girls, 2 girls on the front, like 25, attractive, posh, right? She said, "What's your name?" And this girl went, "Oh, my name's India," like that. And she went, "Oh man," she did a funny thing about it, like how posh girls called India and all that. And then she sort of did a little chat with her, and then went to this other girl, like, and she goes, "What's your name?" She went, "Jemima." And she went, "Oh my god," she's ripped this girl's name so hard, man. I felt really. I was like, this is a bit much, man. It's a small room. They're all quite nice and posh and gentle types. And this girl, Jemima, you could see was looking she was looking really uncomfortable
come out for
with
a
it.
fun night.
I know, man. And she started looking really uncomfortable and sort of trying to get out of the conversation, and like, and the competitors kept gunning for her, man. I was like, seems a bit weird. And then she went like, "I bet you got rich parents, man." She goes like, "So what's your mum do?" Like that, which is such a personal question to ask an audience member. And this girl went, she works for KPMG, like that, which is like, I don't know what they do. It's a big company, right?
They're like an Ernst and Young kind of finance.
So she was like, "Oh yeah, of course they worked for KPMG." Did a bit more, and of course Jemima. I kept just saying Jemima, and then she went, and this girl was looking like she was really like just not enjoying this chat. And then she went, "What about your dad? What's your dad do? I bet he's got a big time job." And this Jemima went, "Well, actually, no. He's got really chronic mental health issues, like that, right?" And literally, the wind just out of the gig. And then this combat started trying to sort of like, "Oh right, yeah, like So do you live with him? Like, where is he? And then this girl went, to be honest, we don't actually know where he is at the minute. And I swear, man,
I mean,
could
you're
hear
at a comedy club though, like
I
maybe
know.
look
You
for
could
him.
hear a pin drop, man. Like, it was so uncomfortable. And the compere just, for about 2 minutes, tried to, like, somehow rescue the gig and just and tried to then take it back to the girl's name, Jemima. Like, no, I was just trying to talk about your name. And it was just, you're done, mate. You're dead. She literally just had to bring me on to, like, the most uncomfortable room. It was almost like she just went, after a few minutes, I can't repair this. Hopefully you can, and brought me on. So I just had to walk on and sort of be like, well, fucking, that's tense, isn't it, mate? And just had to just ride it from there. But, like, I remember just watching it thinking, this is all of your own doing. You know, sometimes as an act, you can say that it was the audience's fault, but that was absolutely her fault as the host.
I remember going on in Leicester once, and he's a promoter, but he sometimes compares, but he can kill a gig, man. I really like the guy, but I just don't want him comparing. And then it was in Leicester. I mean, you know him, obviously, but, like, he was comparing, and I weren't that experienced. I was a bit new, few years in, started to do 20s, and he said to some woman, "Where's your something about her husband?" She said, "Oh, he killed himself," and he went, "Oh, I can see why talking to you."
Oh no!
And I swear the room just clammed up, man. Like, there was just a fucking horrible vibe in the room. And then I went on straight. Then he brought me straight on. And it was like, it was hard work, man. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, me and all the bar staff just gasped looking at each other. And then I had to walk on.
Yeah. There's
I can see why he killed himself talking to you.
The question after this is from Bill, and he said, "What's the worst or unusual reaction to a gag or story?" So we're sort of covering that as well in these. I did that. Well, I had one once similar, but, like, it was very much more light-hearted in the sense of the audience were on my side. There was a bit of a dick in. This was years ago as well. I was like, you know, I'd been going a few years, and a guy this is how long ago it was, late 2000s. I was doing a gig and it's all fun, and some guy heckled me, and I sort of dug him out a bit, and he cussed my mum. That's how, like, long ago it was. Just a guy just cussed my mum, and the audience luckily were on my side, so they were a bit like they weren't loving what he was saying. And then I just cussed his mum back, man. I was I was still young enough that I just went, fuck this. I just cussed his mum out, man. And then he just went, "Oh, mate, that's a bit like my mum's dead," like that. And the audience went a little
start
bit,
the mum cusses
exactly right.
and
but
then
I said to
fucking.
him, but I just went to him, "Oh, mate, having met you, I reckon she probably died of shame," like that. And it got a big laugh, luckily, because they were on my side. But I remember just thinking, like, that could have, in another world, gone real bad. Let's see.
I used to love mum cusses, man.
I know. You don't really hear them anymore. I do think they've died out generationally.
I remember being at about 11 and heard some geezers cussing. One of them went, "Your mum wears troop trainers." Do you remember troop trainers?
No.
Do you remember them? Nah, they were just after your time then, before your time maybe.
Well, they were sort
British
of like
Knights
style. Oh, yeah.
They were like big kind of troop trainers in the 80s, yeah.
Right.
Your mum wears a dressing gown and troop trainers. Your mum wears a turban on her eyelid. And it was like just random. A British Knight. Do you remember British Knight?
I remember
trainers?
British Knights. Sort of, I caught British Knights, and then there was like naff and all that sort of stuff by the time I was...
my sister had a naff jacket that I used to borrow.
Mate, I'd love to find a naff jacket now. It'd be quality. You could probably get them on Vinted, actually. Have a look.
Yeah, man.
There's a bit of chat on the group about gender reveal parties. Are they the worst? I mean, they're American, aren't they? I don't know a single person in the UK that's had a gender reveal party.
No, same.
I don't know. American bullshit. That's all that American weirdness, man. I've never understood, like, it being a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got, people that really I want a boy, I want a girl. Like, that's a different part of the brain that I've got or something. Because that didn't.
Unless they've got like 3 boys already, and then they want a girl, maybe.
But like these, like I've never understood that bloke thing of being like, I want a boy, I want a son. I need to pass on my.
I never have.
I think it's fucking weird, mate.
For my legacy.
I know. Yeah, your legacy is that you're a weirdo, mate. I think you should probably not have kids. Yeah, I've never understood that. Like, I quite like the fact, I would have been happy with either. And also, but then I was really happy when it was a girl because, like, in my head, I've heard girls are nicer little kiddies, and from having, everyone I know has got kids, like, and that's not the best focus group, but to just base a scientific opinion on, but almost everyone I know that's got kids has said, little boys are much
girls
harder.
Are generally better behaved. Yeah, like I've had to pick 2 of my kids up from police stations in my time, and neither of them were girls.
Well, that's it. Growing up, we were little shits, man, and most of the girls I knew were like nice. That's not to say when they get into like their teens, they can be like girls can be like nasty, man. But I do. Yeah,
I know. All girls schools, man. They're brutal.
They're not going to throw a brick at you, are they? Do you know what I mean? It is a different level of nastiness. There's a lot of chat. People agreeing that the gender reveals are weird. Who would you put on a new £1 banknote? Who would you put on a new banknote? Don't know. Is there a new note coming
Trump.
out? I've not followed anything about the American election for about a month since I stopped.
I've been watching bits and pieces. Group. Yeah.
What's the latest?
Since I got kicked out of the politics group.
You didn't get kicked out. You left.
I did leave. Yeah. It was after me and Jagu had a long chat, and I covered every angle with him, and he was still. And I was like, oh, okay. That's what that's how I saw it.
Yeah, you covered every angle from your point of view. He was covering the angles from his point of view.
I mean, I was.
Neither of you.
Yeah, but. Yeah. I just felt like I was using facts. I was providing statistics, history.
But there's also statistics that show that Trump is bad. You know what I mean? There's statistics. You can pick statistics that cover everything. That's the thing with political opinion nowadays. It's not. There's not one fact that fits all, is there? There are multitudes of facts that cover all parts of society.
I haven't really had my head in it that much. I got a bit obsessed with it. Do you know what I mean?
I got that sense.
Yeah, and it was. It's not, we're in a different country, aren't we?
Exactly. That's why
it will have an effect on us.
That's why I've tapped out of looking at it for a while, just because, I don't care about American politics. I was only in it just because I found it quite fun, having a little ding-dongs from now and again. I genuinely thought it was a bit funny. But then I realised that for about 5 days in a row, I'd thought about American politics, and I was like, that is 5 days too many for me. So I just stopped looking.
It's more entertaining, the USA stuff, isn't it? Because they're more characters, and England seems. I should really maybe pay attention to English politics.
I think
nothing. You know what I mean?
Or nothing. Yeah, I feel much. I've not looked at any British politics in about a month, so I feel quite.
That survey thing was quite good, where you fill out the survey and then it tells you who you would vote for.
Right. Yeah.
Just do that and then vote for them. You know what I mean? It's just simple, isn't it? If the survey is unbiased, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Would you rather a botched hair transplant or botched turkey teeth? I wouldn't want botched either, but if I suppose
you could wear a hat, couldn't you?
Exactly. You botch your teeth, you're done, man.
Yeah.
I've just started using. So yesterday I picked up. I'm doing. I've got to get a bloody. This front tooth here, I've got to get a root canal and a crown. And so they've said before doing that, let's just we'll whiten my teeth a bit, just so then, just get them to take a shade back, and then they can do the crown on the new. So the dental nurse doesn't
vomit. I had a root canal on my front tooth a couple of years ago. It's not as bad. I built it up. I was dreading it. It wasn't as bad as I thought. The injection was the worst part.
I don't mind injections. I think they're fine. but no. So for the next month, I've got to wear a mouth guard to bed with like cleaning gel inside. So I did it for the first night last
Ah.
night. It feels fucking weird, man. Like
Did you have to
it
pay
feels.
for that?
Yeah. It's pretty pricey.
Because
It's
my
proper like.
dentist was like, can do that with my teeth, like the whitening thing. It was like 500 notes, man.
Yeah,
I just
mine's
went
more
on
than
to
that.
what's that website that's got loads of discounts again? The big one.
I don't know.
Forget what it's called.
Amazon.
Nah,
But
it's
yeah, but
like
you've
a
got.
website you can find bargains and deals, and
But this one
they
you've got to
often
get
get
actual.
crowds into clubs with it. I
You've got to
forget what
get.
it's called.
But you've got to get what to get. But you need to get them fitted. You need the actual proper molds created for
I
your
just
teeth.
went
You
there
can't
and
buy-
they just did it. Like it took about an hour,
Oh
and it
right, no, this is a
definitely whitened them.
yeah. But this one apparently like it's a month-long thing where they sort of just like gradually do it, and it's like apparently you can take it. You can actually apparently take it as far as you want, but I don't want glistening white teeth because you
Yeah, not
look
too
fucking
white.
weird. But yeah, it's weird wearing a mouth guard to bed. It doesn't feel very comfy. Let's see what's going on. It's a lot of chat actually about gender reveal parties. Let's see. Right. Oh fuck, man. Sorry. Now everyone's just discussing stuff. Has gig etiquette completely gone out the window? This is from Laura. Laura. Lora. Laura or Laura? Is that just a spelling of Laura?
I reckon that's Laura.
Laura. Maybe Spanish or Laura.
What do you mean
Has
gig etiquette?
Let's see. I've been to 2 music gigs in the last week where there's been so much strange behaviour on show. Also, what's the biggest thing that winds you up when you're part of an audience? I discovered mine is when people can't clap in time with a song. I suppose it's that thing of people filming at gigs and things, and people just like chatting at comedy shows and like just the sort of social behaviour. Really, I think
Those people that chat at comedy shows, even though they've been told 7 times, and they just cannot not talk.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, like the arrogance or like I don't know, it is irritating.
Yeah, but I'd say in general, like base level etiquette has got worse but I think it's purely because of mobile phones. Like, people filming.
Yeah.
I think I've done gigs in the last week. 2 gigs out of the 3 gigs I've done this week, I've seen multiple people just taking video or photos of just doing that during the gig, like of me. I was like, what are you going to do with that footage of me? Like, what are you doing? It's not, where are you putting that? Because it's not. I don't give a shit. It's not even that. I'm like, why do you want that? You're not going to look back.
When I did Covent Garden the other day, a woman in the front row was just looking at her phone sometimes. I'm like, don't sit on the front row then.
Yeah, so I think that etiquette has definitely got way worse. People filming music gigs. You're in a music gig watching a band you've waited to see for ages, and you're just sat there.
It's definitely the internet and mobile phones have caused that, haven't they?
Yeah. But
people's
also,
attention.
I'd say in terms of actual comedy, like heckling's definitely. I feel like heckling died out, and it's slightly coming back now that there's a lot of crowd work
That used to be the thing that
on.
people would be scared of. Like, oh, what about heckles? Like,
yeah,
that's like the least of problems, isn't it? Unless someone, I don't know. I've never really had a heckle, like, in fucking 18 years that has like destroyed me or like shook me.
And I've not had somebody shout out something proper in ages. Like I had that guy with the jeans the other week, but it was so weird that actually it ended up being relatively funny. But in terms of an actual heckle,
unusual, though, isn't it?
I've not seen somebody shout your shit at a gig for 15 years. Like, I just don't think it really happens anymore, does it?
We're just all thinking it.
Yeah, exactly. No, but so I actually think etiquette in terms of rudeness of shouting heckles has got better.
Yeah.
I do think little general, like, people checking their phones and stuff, obviously that's I've never seen it worse. Like, people just are so obsessed with their fucking phones that like they can't. I like the idea.
That's why basement gigs are good. There's no reception or stuff.
That's quality. Yeah. That or just say them big. I totally get why them big acts have people put their phones in a lock or whatever on the way in. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. It's
just
a hard
get it
one,
out
though,
your
isn't
pocket.
it, to monitor?
Yeah, I suppose. But I suppose it's that thing. If the rule is you can't have a phone in and you've got to put it in a locker, it's a one and done thing. If a security see you get your phone out, then you're out
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you've
yeah.
literally broken the one rule they have. So there's no argument there of, you know. Mm. But yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. We're back next week. Who we got in the studio next
Thanks,
week?
patrons. We have got Eleanor Conway.
Eleanor Conway's coming back on.
And and then we've got 2 weeks after that, we've got Dominic Holland, Tom
Dominic
Holland's
Holland,
dad.
Spider-Man's dad. Dom Holland,
I
also
don't know how
in his
much
own
he's
right.
going to
Dom
want to
is.
talk about.
I mean, I'm
but
sure but
it's going to be
it might get mentioned. But he's also a very good. I mean, Dom's a very good stand-up. It's
he's
one of the
quality,
sort of,
man, isn't he? I
like,
think he's
and
like
also one of them
underrated
people.
quality.
Yeah, but he also, like, when I started out in comedy, like, he was in the generation of like them proper 90s observational comedians. I always just remember being like, fuck, those guys were like killers, man. Him,
He almost, like
Jeff
someone was saying
Green,
about
people
him,
like,
he kind of spawned McIntyre and Jimmy Carr a little bit. You know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah, he would have been so, like, one of the guys when they were starting out. He was like the headliner on the
Yeah,
circuit,
yeah, yeah.
man. And like he would have totally influenced those guys. His style and
Jeff
that
Green
slightly
was quality
cutting.
as well.
Yeah, man. All of those guys, them sort of proper 90s top level stand ups. Because it was in a period when there wasn't much on TV, so a lot of people would never know them, but
Yeah,
comedy
yeah, yeah.
aficionados would be like, who went to live comedy in the 90s and the early to mid 2000s would be like, they were like the top level, man. The Jeff Innocents of, like, those sorts of level. But yeah, it'd be good to chat to Dom. He's a good guy.
That's
I've played
me
golf
now,
with
isn't
him
it?
before. He's good value.
He's a good guy, man.
Yeah. So, all right, patrons, thanks for supporting us.
Thank you, guys.
That's it. We'll speak to you next time. Bye.